You are listening to Vox Arcanum, occult talk radio, shining light on all things esoteric. Find us online at facebook.com/Vox Arcanum Radio. Thank you for tuning in to Vox Arcanum. This is your host, Valen Calhoun, for the week of September 20th, 2015. This Wednesday marks the autumnal equinox festival known as Mabon, which honors the transition from the light half to the dark half of the year. During the equinox, day and night are equal in length. This phenomenon happens only twice per year when the daytime and night fall into an equal proportion of 12 hours each. The name Mabon itself is fairly new, dating back only to the 1970s, and was previously celebrated simply as the autumn equinox. In fact, the use of the name Mabon is much more prevalent in America than it is in Britain, where many neo-pagans are actually dismissive of the holiday, citing it to be inauthentic. Various other names for the Samhain include the Second Harvest, the Wine Harvest Festival, the Feast of Avalon, Cornucopia, and the Winter Finding. This festival really embodies the mysteries of equality and balance, and it represents a time of preparation and a tying up of loose ends as we begin to ready ourselves for the winter. At this time, the sun starts to enter into Libra, represented by the symbol of balanced scales, which appropriately fits the equinox. Mabon mythology connects closely with many different deities. Autumn begins as Persephone returns to Hades to dwell within the underworld. Demeter becomes so upset at the loss of her daughter that in her grief she curses the earth to be barren, thus creating the seasons. However, in Welsh folklore, Mabon is a god born to Madron, the Great Mother. Mabon, like Persephone, is said to have been stolen from his mother, having his life drawn into the other world. In some stories, he was rescued by King Arthur, in others by Welsh animal spirits. Aging deities and gods of wine are also honored during Mabon, especially gods like Dionysus and Bacchus. Other deities can include Thor, Thoth, and Hermes. Personally, for me, Mabon's all about reflection, looking back on the year, cross-checking my goals, and celebrating a kind of personal harvest. This is the time to ask yourself if you've accomplished what you've planned this year. This way you give yourself a little time to deal with unfinished business before winter arrives. Days are starting to shorten and the nights are getting longer, symbolizing the restful nature of winter that approaches. Mabon gives us that one last chance at introspection before we have to hunker down. It's a great time to do a self-inventory and really make any last-minute course corrections. The Second Harvest is a wonderful time to honor the spirit world. Offerings to elder deities and ancestors are very common during Mabon, and many pagans choose to leave offerings at the base of significant trees. Apples are harvested at this time and have become a universal symbol for the autumn equinox. Things like cider, applesauce, and fresh apples are common additions to the Mabon altar, as well as nuts, gourds, grapes, acorns, and pine cones. Also, the symbol of the cornucopia basket and the scythe or sickle are very common at this time. Besides being a time of introspection and giving thanks, the autumn equinox is a great time for spell working and divination. The veil has already started to pull back and the wind again begins to carry that energy of darkness and mystery. It's a great time to work magic involving balance, harmony, reflection, letting go, prosperity, confidence, or protection. At this time, the colors of fall start to resonate heavily and can be used in candle magic, altar dressing, or home decor. Deep shades of red, orange, gold, brown, and black really help set the tone. I also like to include motifs of life and death, along with fresh apples, nuts, grapevines, and pine cones to my altar. Another tradition of mine is to visit some graveyards and commune with the dead. I like to leave an apple under the most prominent tree in the cemetery. It's a great time to honor your deceased loved ones in your own personal way. Two really important themes of Mabon are discernment and refinement. Critical changes can be made at this time by utilizing simple acts of observation and response. One spell that I found to be very successful during the equinox involves splitting an apple in half and placing a parchment with positive affirmations within it. I then bury the apple near the base of a sacred tree, and as it rots away, the spell is released into the earth. I often just include this spell in a larger Mabon ritual working. The key to Sabbath magic is really aligning yourself with the traditions of the Sabbath, and then you adjust your spell to fit these parameters. What happens is the cumulative energy of other people celebrating the same holiday while using similar traditions act to enhance the effects of your ritual, and they give it a kind of boost. Mabon festivities can include cider making, tending the garden, honoring the dead, sharing stories, singing, and of course feasting with friends and family. So get your ass outside, go take a walk through nature, notice how it responds to the changing of the seasons, notice the energy stirring in the air, the smell of decaying leaves, the sounds of animals reacting to the approach of autumn. Reflect on your year and on all of your goals, and you want to take full advantage of the forces that surround us right now. They're very unique, and if you do, they will serve you well. My name is Valen for Vox Arcanum, and if you've enjoyed this podcast, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Facebook, Vox Arcanum Radio.